Computer. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tina Hewerman, and I am a consultant, customer, friend, coach with HB Naturals. And I'm so incredibly excited to have you guys on this call tonight. I've got two dear friends that I am going to introduce you to. Both have extremely powerful stories and an even more powerful connection, which I can't wait to share with you. This is a little bit different than our Thursday night calls, but it is very powerful and will show you the power of FULVIC in its purest form. I first want to introduce you to Michelle Carroll. She is one of my biggest supporters in this company. I've got many. I've got Landy, I've got Megan, I've got Tanya that encourages me, I've got Marcus and Will, and so many people help bring FULVIC to this company. I'm so excited to bring this call to you tonight. Michelle has got a story that has completely captured my heart, and the connection she and Tanya made just let me know that my decision, our team's decision to come to this company was beyond our own understanding. Let's say it that way. So, Michelle, I am going to turn it over to you, and you've got such an incredible story. And let me just tell you that I know I was a good mom, but the way that you parent and what you go through on a daily basis absolutely touches my heart. And I don't know where you get your strength. And I'm just so honored to be in your circle and to be able to feed energy back to you and to bless you in any way I can.
Thank you. You guys are going to make me cry already. I'm going to try not to cry. Thank you. And I am so blessed to be here with all of you. I definitely feel like God is bringing people together for a bigger purpose than we could ever imagine. And I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you. So tell me about your experience with HBN. When did you join? Why did you join? What is your experience? And then we'll get into where you're at right now in life.
Okay. So for those of you that don't know, my son, Jaden, he is going to be 6 next month. He started having seizures at about 5.5 months old. And we noticed that he was having these type of episode things, but the doctors didn't confirm that they were seizures. And so at that point, I wasn't really looking for any supplements or any product because he was so tiny. And so when the doctors confirmed at 5.5 months old that he was having seizures, my whole world crumbled. And of course, the first thing that they do is, seizure medications, which I didn't know at the time are anti-epileptic drugs, are the same kind of drugs as antidepressants. They're controlled substances, benzos. They're drugs that your body becomes dependent on. And when you go to come off of these medications, your body can go through severe withdrawal. And if you're one that has seizures or genetic disorders, it can be life-threatening. So basically, when Jaden was put on medications at 5.5 months old, started having severe side effects from insomnia from day one, severe insomnia. We were lucky if we slept 2 broken hours in a 24-hour period. We noticed regression right away. He had just started rolling back and forth, and that had stopped. Just different things that he was doing that he had just started doing, sleeping through the night, that stopped. Different things just started to slowly fade away. And then it was like that medication didn't work, so they added another one. And before they could stop the first, they had to get to the full dose of the second. And that was like a 2-month span. So it was like those side effects were stacking on top of other side effects. And it just hallucination, low heartbeat, like just a number of side effects. And I wanted to get him on CBD, but they told us, no, you can't do that. And they kind of made it like, you can't put your child on CBD. It's not legal, this, that, and the other. And I was not educated. I didn't know about it. And there was a lot of fear that was created, me thinking, oh my gosh, I can't put my 5-month-old on CBD, but yet they're putting him on controlled substances. And so I just started to do my research, and I had started him on CBD, and we noticed a difference. And then when medical cannabis became legal in the state of Pennsylvania, I did get him certified, and he was doing great on it. And my goal was to get him off of all of the pharmaceuticals with his doctor, supervised by his doctor. And we did. We were successful, and he was thriving. And I mean, at that point, he still wasn't. He had started rolling again after we took him off the medications, but he wasn't like walking or talking. At 14 months old, when they had put him on this one specific benzo, it's called Onfi, he lost all of his muscle tone. So Jaden is going to be 6 next month, and he's disabled. So he can't sit. I mean, he just started sitting on his own, praise God, but he can't talk, walk, chew his own food. He can't do any of that. So he was off all pharmaceuticals as of August 2018. And the longer he went off of pharmaceuticals, the more things slowly started to come back. He started to roll again. He started to get stronger in his legs. He was weight bearing if we stood him up. And with that, the sense of emotion, he was smiling again, the sense of feeling, which was amazing. But he had pain in his left leg where we didn't know what was going on. We thought maybe it was nerve damage that he had from, possibly from something that he had when he was younger. And so we had taken him into the emergency room in December of 2018 for his leg, and they didn't do anything for his leg. Instead, the emergency room doctor severely overdosed him, giving him loading doses. And if you don't know what a loading dose is, it is literally 5 times the amount of what that pharmaceutical is for that person's weight. We had learned that on our own, we begged doctors to test for this one specific mutation. It's called MTHFR. And over 60% of Americans have it and they don't know. And it affects your body's natural ability to detox. It's your whole methylation. It's your detox pathways, your B vitamins. Like if you have MTHFR, like you can't just take regular supplements. It has to be in the purest form. Our bodies cannot convert folate, which is B9. We can't convert synthetic folate, which is labeled as folic acid. It just builds up inside of our bodies, and it's really just, it just does a lot of really bad things for our body, and we can't convert it. And so you really want folate in the purest form. And so I was literally looking for supplements for a while for him and couldn't find anything. And when he was in the hospital, after he was admitted, he was in there for 5 days. And when he got out, he was severely nutrient deficient. He wasn't absorbing nutrients at all. His iron levels were low. His methylfolate levels were low. We were working with specialists and ordering supplements from literally Europe, and his body was not absorbing the B12. And it was to the point where he was so weak. He was sleeping most of the day. He could not get through physical therapy. He could not hold his head up. It was really just, it was really bad. It was scary. And so I was just researching for supplement companies and praying for something that I could find that was organic, clean, transparent, plant-based. And I stumbled upon Heart and Body Naturals. And the first thing that I noticed was the Nourish. It was plant-based, it's clean, it has folate right from the source. And I got approval from his doctor to use the Nourish and the iron. And the next time we went back for blood work, which was about 6 weeks, both his levels for B12 and iron were within normal range. So that was when I knew, like, these products are the real deal. His body is literally absorbing the nutrients. And that was huge for us because we've spent thousands of dollars and his body wasn't absorbing the nutrients. So it's been a huge blessing. And for me, I'm home with him. I had to resign. I worked in the medical field for over 10 years and I had to be home with him. And I didn't come here to do the business or anything. I was just so blown away at the ingredients and the transparency that I was just telling everybody I know, like, you have to look at these products. And the business end just happened. That was just a blessing. But really, the products have been life-changing. It's reduced inflammation for me, and my overall health has improved. But Jaden specifically, it's been a huge blessing for us,
and a huge blessing for the network that you work in as well.
Yes.
Or not work
Yes.
in, but educate
Part
yourself
of, yeah.
in, because
Absolutely.
you are extremely intelligent when it comes to ingredients, how the body works. Like, I've learned so much for you, and I'm so thankful for that. So 2 weeks ago, I interviewed my dear friend Tanya, and she is amazing. She's one of my dearest friends. She will tell me exactly where I mess up, and sometimes not in kind words, but I know that kindness comes from love. And Tanya was a friend and customer of mine with the previous FULVIC company. And when I reached out to Tanya with this, I'm like, you got to try this. You got to try this. Like, I was constantly on the hunt to find a product that was going to help the people that I love the most. And Tanya is definitely one of them. And I was almost afraid to reach out to her because so many things that she had tried had failed. And I thought, I can't put this on her and have it fail again. And so there was a lot of responsibility, a lot of heart praying, and just wanting to know, not wanting to know, but just hoping beyond hope that this would be something that would bring her out of where she was, because there was a part of her that I knew that if we went any longer, she'd never come back. So, Miss Tanya.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me here. Tina kind of boosted me up much more than I should have credit for, but I appreciate it and love you and thank you guys. So we'll just jump right in. So when Tina and I met many years ago, we were going through caring for our mothers, facing cancer, facing Alzheimer's, looking at our careers, and juggling full-time families. At that time, I had a series of events happen. My pelvis collapsed. I was hospitalized. I could no longer eat. I was no longer keeping food down. I'd lost weight. And really, I just started a Michelin project prior to that. And so I was working 100 hours a week. But long story short, my ailments had gotten to the point where I could no longer function and work. So we left thinking that this was short term. And now it's 4 years later, literally almost to the date that I left. FULVIC came into my lap after being diagnosed over the years with 20 plus different ailments, going through stem cell for 2.5 years, rebuilding my trunk, my hips, my pelvis, my pubic symphysis, and learning really how to walk and function again. So then when we were hit in 2019 with another disease or another virus, an ailment that was attacking me systemically, it was just kind of another hit, all of a sudden I started having issues with my nerves. My cognitive decline was becoming more and more apparent. And a darkness started to really consume my life. I had gone from being very independent and an executive and, running challenging projects to all of a sudden no longer being able to fend for myself. And when I say fend for myself, I couldn't go to the bathroom on my own. I couldn't stand on my own. I couldn't shower. I wasn't present. I was no longer really a friend, a sister, a wife. And there's so much backdrop to that, right? And I know we only have a few minutes. So the isolation of chronic ailments in and of itself is debilitating, isolating, lonely. And honestly, there's so much shame, embarrassment, but I think a lot of that is what we put on ourselves, but also what we don't want to add on to another person. Like, okay, it's Monday, it's 2020. Okay, I still feel crappy, right? I'm still going through these ailments. All right, it's Tuesday, 2021. Oh, I'm still going through the same things, right? So, you stop sharing and you become very closed, and you stop giving. And at the point where I was at, I could no longer give. And Tina and several of my girlfriends really searched the World Wide Web for anything that could help me, because I honestly couldn't help myself. We then found out, and this is actually how Michelle and I connected, that
I left this part out. I was going to let you talk about it first.
I have several genetic dispositions, right? So, and I think many of my 20 ailments actually fall under those dispositions, right? So I have a rare form of EDS, and that, attacks your joints, it attacks your skin, it attacks your collagen, your tendons, your joints, and it literally keeps your body so unstable. You are constantly having fractures, dislocations, but it takes 20 to 40 years to diagnose. So for 30 years, I've been struggling, thinking that it was me and I was doing something wrong and I was weak and I wasn't strong enough and I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't exercising enough. No, it was a genetic disposition. There was absolutely nothing I could do to change my situation, right? And then I found out not too long ago, months ago, that at this point, I'm the only documented person that cannot metabolize all 65 different types of pharmaceuticals. But on top of that, I don't metabolize most vitamins, supplements, herbs, all the things that you would think even naturally that I would be able to absorb. I don't. So it causes, as you can imagine, finding an ailment or finding a cure, not a cure, but an aid to help in anything is virtually impossible, right? Because I have gone through the gander, right? Most things, natural supplements, teas, CBD, all of that stuff, and hospitalizations, and nothing really works, right? So so when this little bag of dirt landed on my doorstep, at that time, when we had found out all of my whole disposition, my whole kind of story in a nutshell, I was going through a cold turkey, 50 some pills a day. CBD didn't work, painkillers didn't work. So I went off of 50 pills a day on a Thursday, because it was either that or I was going to die. Now, on top of that, then we found out that I had old long-term mold poisoning in my body, and it was shutting my organs down. By then, literally, I was just a shell of a person.
You were dark.
The place that my soul was in was so dark, so hidden, so isolated. And no matter how much she screamed, there was no one to hear me, because my voice, it no longer worked. My eyes, my ability to communicate was no longer there. So when this bag of dirt showed up on my doorstep, I actually looked at it and kind of laughed and was like, you know what? I'm not willing to try anything more. I'm just not. My body can't take it. And if And if there is one thing in this that hurts me, I'm done. Like, there's no coming back at this point, right? So it sat on my table for about a week. And Tina called, have you tried it? Have you tried it? I was like, no. She's like, just do one foot bath. I was like, no, I'm not. And literally it was every day of this week. Did you try it? Did you try it? So to shut her up, I tried it, right? I was like, dude, like, I don't even know what to tell you, but okay, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do 2. I'm not doing your 3. I'm going to do 2. And if I see nothing, I'm like, Tina, that's it. I don't want to try anything more. So I tried it reluctantly, as you can see. And at this time, I cannot regulate myself, my temperature. I cannot think. I cannot go to the bathroom on my own. I can't function, right? Not sleeping. So 1 foot bath, 20 minutes. The following day, my temperature started to balance out a bit, right? I was no longer like sweating profusely, soaked or freezing. I was, but I could feel it tapering a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. The following day, I slept through the night. Okay, not through the night. I slept 3 hours, but that was the longest
That's
time
huge.
I slept seriously in like a year. I can't even tell you, like, forget all the ailments, right? If you're just sleep deprived, it's enough to make you go crazy, right?
Michelle
so
knows
add
that,
on
yes.
I'm telling you,
else,
that's sleep deprivation is.
I mean, literally, you're going freaking bonkers, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, I can't even express myself because I no longer have the vocabulary to do it. So I'm a silent, freaking out war zone that has no voice. So it gave me 3 hours of sleep. I did FULVIC for 136 days. And every single day, a miracle happened, right? And it was amazing. And every day, it was like all of a sudden on Facebook, they were seeing me and they had never seen me before on Facebook. And it was like, oh my gosh, parasites. Oh my gosh, there's energy. Oh my gosh, I just got up and went to the bathroom on my own. Oh my gosh, I was just able to take a shower on my own. When I say these are huge, these are gigantic to me, these were life-changing things because it hadn't happened on my own, had not been my life for years. There was no on my own.
And you were an adult version of my son, basically.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You were in bed.
Absolutely. And literally COVID was like my blessing, right? My blessing to hide me. And it kept me covered. It was like my covet, right? I didn't have to talk to anybody. I didn't have to see anybody. I didn't have to explain my condition. And I was perfectly safe in my bubble amongst COVID.
COVID was normal for us.
COVID was normal to me. You know what I mean? Like COVID was like a blessing. I was like, what the hell? Something went right in my life, but only for me and Michelle, not for anybody else, right?
We're like, this is normal life for us.
Right. But literally, it was also the time when I have found that most of you have actually found out whether you are of a healing spirit or to be healed, right? And God and life and people come into our world in a very magnificent way. And there's a lot of people that look at COVID in a lot of negative ways. But for me, it was a time of enlightenment for pretty much everybody I know. And certainly for me, but it also gave me the time to really reflect on where I was. But it also allowed me to see every single miracle in those 136 days for exactly what they were, because they were miracles. It wasn't just a coincidence. It wasn't that these 70 trace minerals, all of a sudden I was miraculously cured. No, it's not the end all be all, right? But what it did do was offered just a sliver of hope, right? And like I said in the last video, like all of us, whether it's for our children, ourselves, our spouses, are just looking for a second chance, just a piece of hope. For God's sakes, just give me a lifeline, right? And that's what God did through Tina, through FULVIC, through the ability to, I mean, Boo closed, right? Okay, well, you know what it did do? It opened the eyes of so many to see miraculous change. And, you know, when we were looking for a company, I said no to all of them, every single one of them, right? And Tina and I would go back and forth on what we thought was a good platform and what wasn't. And most of them we went by our gut, and none of them were a good fit. Mm-hmm. And you know, and HBN actually kind of stayed in the shadows, right? Chelsea was like, this is a company that I'm working with, I believe in, and I like the products, but it wasn't on our radar at all. But what happened was, and again, God validates a lot of things by keeping us hidden, keeping us in the dark until it's our time to shine, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what he did. He kept HBN there in the dark until it was its time to show its head. And that's what happened. And when they were willing to source and come up with a product that was similar to what we had known and loved, and what had changed so many people's lives, it was either going to be a product that was going to be equal or better to, or we weren't going to go with it at all. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to put my name on it. I wasn't going to put my feet in it. I just, you know, we weren't going to go forward with it. And so that's kind of where we are today. And that's how Michelle and I, there's so many things on my Facebook page that like all of a sudden just come back to like that moment when Michelle reached out to me. And
before we go one step further, we forgot to close that part of the story.
So do you want me to say how we learned about this mutation?
Yeah, one more thing.
Okay.
I need from Tanya.
Okay.
Before those 137 days, what were you doing and what were your goals? What was your belief system at the end of those 137 days?
So my brain is slow today. I'm not working as well. So
how many steps a day? How many steps a day were you walking?
Okay, all right.
Distance.
So my stem cell doctor and I was always very, very athletic. And I believe in it 100%. Exercise. And so my stem cell doctor, right, once I could no longer walk, I had told him a year and a half into stem cell, mind you, I could not even hold my body up. I was like, you know what, damn it, I'm gonna walk a 5K. He's like, okay, sister. He's like, how about you walk into my into my operating room and get up on the table? Can you do that? I was like, you know what, I'm still working on that, but my goal is 5K. So at the beginning of FULVIC, or before FULVIC, I couldn't walk 100 steps. I still have my brace, I have a cane. And I couldn't make it down the stairs. There's a video from that time when it was the first time I stepped up one step from my walkway into my house. That was the first time in 4 years without help. Yeah. By the end of that 136 days on FULVIC, I was on a beach on a video with Tina and Renee, and I walked 12,000 plus steps.
That's amazing.
And I can talk and I can have a conversation. As awkward as I sound most of the time, it was so much. I mean, before I wouldn't not have been able to even form a sentence for you.
Right. So Michelle, that night during the video when Tanya shared her first testimony with us on our product launch call, I think you were in tears, your phone was blowing up. Take us on that journey.
Yeah. So one of the things that I left out, because I was waiting for the right moment to share, I talked about the other mutation that Jaden had. Well, it turns out that Jaden also has genetic mutations that affect his ability to metabolize pharmaceuticals. They don't call it anything. They say it's rare. The lab wrote up a special letter for his doctor. Like, there's nobody out there that they could connect us with that had this gene. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do about it. Like, that was it. Right. So it's like, we're out here by ourselves trying to figure out what's going on with Jaden. He can't tell me how he feels when he takes things. And so I'm getting ready for the product call 2 weeks ago. And Tina's like, I have a special guest. Tina, Chelsea, and Megan were like, we have a special guest that's coming on. Michelle, you're going to want to hear her testimony. And I'm like, I'm on it. Right. So I hear her talking. And as soon as Tanya starts talking about having rare genetics where her body cannot metabolize pharmaceuticals, my phone started to blow up. Everyone kept texting me, this is Jaden. This is Jaden. This is everything she's saying is Jaden. And I was thinking it as I'm sitting here, like everything just paused.
Crying.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, like this woman is exactly Jaden. And as soon as we got off the call, I went Facebook searching for Tanya. I sent her a friend request. I sent her an inbox message. I said, hey, my name's Michelle and this is my son's story. And he has genes. And I was sending her medical records and she's like, can I call you? And I'm like, my heart just like, she called me. We were on FaceTime. We were talking like we are now for 2.5 hours. Like, they are the same people. They have the same genetics. It's crazy. Like, and I always thought that he was sensitive to certain supplements and stuff, but I didn't know because he couldn't tell me and no doctors could tell us. And here I am talking to somebody who has been living through this for the last 30 years. And I'm like, thank you, Lord, for placing this woman in my life, all these people in my life. Timing is everything. And I mean, we were Shay just said that Tanya is your Jaden's angel, and it is so true. It is so true. You are a godsend. And
Carol?
Yeah. Sorry, you guys. My internet went down there for a second. You guys, this is, we have to be very careful with how we market fulvic acid. If you are a customer on this group, this is the power of what we have in our hands. If you are new to fulvic, this is the power of what we have in our hands. And if you are an affiliate with any network marketing company, this is the power that you have in your hands. What if I would have given up on Tanya because she told me no?
And she almost didn't get on the call.
And she almost didn't get on the call.
She almost was not able to get on the call. And what did your husband say, Tanya?
He said, you made a commitment, get on this call. It's not for you, it's for somebody else. He was like, you got to share your story and you got to get it out there. But I was sick. I was not feeling good. And honestly, cognitively that day, I was doing very poorly. And immediately after we did the recording, I texted Tina and I was like, I'm so sorry. It was such a disappointment. It was so terrible. It was so bad. But I cannot see what everybody writes on here, right? Because for my brain, it's too much. So I didn't see everybody's conversations. I don't see your messages. Tina kind of keeps all that from me because then my brain will get too confused. So I was really against being there. So, our stories are validated in such a way. We have no idea why we go through our hardships, right? each one of you has just an amazing story, just as incredible as ours, just as tough and debilitating and heroic as Jaden, as Michelle. But putting those pieces together and not having anybody to kind of walk you through is the travesty of the isolation of any ailment, right? Yeah. And any of us, and for us, it made it even more difficult, right? Because nobody has any answers to our conditions, because we are like 1 in a billion. I mean, literally, Johns Hopkins is like, you're the only documented case in the world. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are suffering what I go through. Like, there's got to be somebody else out there, right? And
but people don't know.
5-year-old boy who is this amazing human being, and to be able to be a part of that is incredible. Like, I have no idea how all these pieces came together, right? Don't know what people believe in, but I believe it's God and it's that universe. And what we have in our hands, guys, is not just 70 minerals, right? It's life-saving, it's life-changing. If you are not present with your child, if you are not present with your spouse, if you are not present with your father, your mother, your siblings, you have the ability to have something that will help you get there. Is it the end all be all? Absolutely not. I'll never say it. I'll never say that about any product, right? Because I'm true blue, and I believe you need a lot of a little, or a little of a lot of different things. So be very careful. I'm very careful in how I talk to people about this and my condition, because I can't save you. I want to, I hope I can, but I can give you hope, and it will make a difference, and it will make you enough difference that you're strong enough to get to the next stage in your healing process, right? Because for me, I have 3 severe areas of brain damage. So you're catching me in these videos, but I have to be very intentional at times I can talk to you, right? So it hasn't done everything, right? FULVIC doesn't bind to all of our mold, all of the different kinds of molds, or even all of the different kind of toxins and environmental toxins and metals that we are exposed to every day. But it does a lot to then give you the ability to see just a little bit clearer, guys, because that's all we're asking for, right? It's just one more day to fight, one more day of hope, one more day of light, or just a day of light, right? And this is what it'll give you. And it will give you people, it'll bring you together with people like Michelle and I. And it's a sisterhood, a bond that can never be broken, right? When you can be a part of hope in somebody's life, hope goes beyond death. It goes beyond any ailment, any struggle. It's the only thing that'll keep you alive, guys. And that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what you're going to have in your hands. That's exactly what you're going to put into your foot bath. It's exactly what you're going to offer to the people that you love. And you are going to see miraculous change, miraculous transformation in your own life, because you're able to give and they're going to receive. And with them receiving, it's just another amazing gift of hope of another person that's going to share that with somebody else.
Exactly. And that is the passion. That's where the heart-centered entrepreneur that's reaching the world, that's putting somebody else's help or health and goals and livelihood against your own fears and not reaching out to someone. Because you know what? With something like this that we have coming on, if you're not reaching out to someone because you're afraid of their judgment, come back to this video. Come back to this video and tell me how people's lives can be changed.
And here's the thing.
Like, I'm not like Tina. I don't cold call. I don't reach out. I don't do none of that, because I'm not good at any of it, right? But what I do is share my story. And that's what I do. Energy is going to attract, right? I'm terrible at marketing. I'm terrible at MLMs. Like, I suck, right? But my story can reach others, right? So just share your story. And if it's not your story, share mine, share Michelle's, share Tina's, share your grief, share this, share that, share the fact that your taste buds are now popping, share the fact that you now can exercise, share your story. That's all you got to do. You don't even, and Tina's going to be like, don't say that, but you know, definitely reach out to everybody. But like I said, if you're like me and you kind of suck at that stuff, then just share
Share a story.
and it'll come to you. Your blessings are going to come. They're going to flow in more ways than finances. Like your heart is going to be so full, guys. So full.
And don't be afraid to try this, you know, go slow. When you have people like Tanya and Jaden who literally are so sensitive to everything, that just means go very low, little, and slow. You know, Tanya is living proof that she has the rarest genetics in the world that literally will make her sick if she takes supplements and stuff like that. And this was the one thing that made her better. So for me, I'm not afraid to try this because Jaden has these rare genes like Tanya, and this gives me hope. You know, all I have to do is put his feet in a foot soak for 20 minutes and put a little bit in. I can do that. You know, it's just, it gives me so much hope.
And I need to make a clarification on the usage video that I did the other day. I meant to say start out at 1/8 of a teaspoon in a foot soak. This is very important. So if you watched that video and shared it, make sure you get to the back. It's a great way to follow up with people. 1/8 of a teaspoon to start for the first 3 to 7 days is the perfect amount for somebody that's healthy. But you've got to listen to your body and how it responds to this. Tanya needs like 1/64 of a teaspoon.
That's what I'm going to start Jaden on.
In a foot bath. And so because of what's going on in the body and the way that they absorb or don't absorb, their starting point with fulvic is less. It's like dipping a toothpick in the powder and rubbing that in the water. Literally.
It's like a sprinkle.
Literally. But also, guys, that shows you how just a small amount can change your life and how powerful those 70 trace minerals are, and how those tiny little bit is able to get into my body through my skin, go through my body to be able to then help change my disposition, right? Just 1/64th. And everybody was like, increase. And in 4 months, the most I increased it to, you guys, was 1/16th. That's it. 1/16th of a teaspoon. It's not even like the top of my, pinky fingernail. That's it. That's all it took.
So and Amazon has all the sets. I just bought an entire set of all the different sizes for like $10. And I'm like ready.
What did Landy say? But the earth, fulvic acid, came to help the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed the river of the I can't say that word on here. That the dragon had poured from his mouth. So with that, you guys, I appreciate your call. This was only supposed to last 30 minutes. It lasted 45. I know we've got another class going on within the company, but appreciate you all so much. Tanya, girl, I love you so much. Thank you for sticking your feet in mud water.
I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Michelle, I'm so glad that this connection, like it's so humbling to be this small little nut in this screwball of a universe that's going on that it's, you'd never know whose life you're going to impact. So with that, I'm going to end the recording, and I appreciate you all so very much. Tomorrow night, same time, same link, Dr. Ivy is going to be educating on all the questions that she has received. Part two. Since last week. She's gotten a whole truckload of questions. So she's going to be trying to answer those as quickly as she can in 30 minutes tomorrow. We may go over again because the fulvic is kind of, we want to learn. Like, we're hungry for this education. And stories like this just drive us to do better and be better of who we are wherever we are. So with that, God bless and good night.
Tina.
Love you guys.